they made offices available to RSVP, and then there was office space down on the first floor, where eventually Project Home, which is now Home Share Vermont, where Project Home had offices, because that was under the umbrella of Three Cathedral Square, having been an offshoot of RSVP. So all those, so Three Cathedral Square wasn't only for the for the elderly and handicapped, but also felt they had a mission to the city, to other parts of the city.
You know, in later years, they also umbrellaed JUMP, the Joint Urban Ministry Project. So they got their 501c3.
That's right. Actually, I think Cathedral Square also spawned Samaritan Connection.
That's true.
Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They've since gotten rid of all those. Yeah, that has another history attached to it.
Yes.
Continues to function at Van Allen.
So then they moved forward, when once they sort of put together what their vision was for the building, other than the 100 units of housing that they wanted us to build. We hired an architect, and we had a commissioner, Tony Adams. Anybody remember Tony Adams? So Tony Adams had his own architectural firm, but in the planning of the building, Frank Hill also gave some input, mainly to the vestry or to the long range planning. So he gave some input, but Tony was the architect. And they went ahead and engaged a contractor, H.B. Cummings. He's still around after all these years.
And they built the cathedral as well. That was the contractor for the cathedral too, right? Cummings?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I guess that was and then early in '77, they hired the first director, executive director, and that was Chuck Ho. Remember Chuck Ho?
I didn't get the name.
Chuck Ho.
Oh.
Oh
my gosh. I remember him from
Estelle, is there anything in the archives that just occurred to me, because it's such a current issue? Is there anything in the archives about negotiating with the city relative to the height of the building?
I don't think there was.
Yeah. I think they just let us do what we wanted to do without question. No, I didn't find that. Yeah.
My mother recalls the height issue. My mother recalls the height issue. She said that the other day. I said, "Did you hear about the height issue?" And she goes, "I recall there must have been something with the height issue because of it being so tall and having the being the first place to have the solar panels on top."
It was an era of urban renewal and planning sort of nationwide when tall skyscrapers were embraced or loved in general. So I would imagine there might not have been a height issue.
As far as I remember, I don't think there was ever a question in Burlington until recently.
Maybe that's what it was.
We're not getting to that one.
Still, one of the things that Richard shared when he was here with Tom Cullens was the way the building was originally set was sort of square, and they showed it to them as to sort of the positioning, and they're the ones that sort of said it needs to turn on its angle so there's a view of the lake, and so that's
and the
sort
cathedral
of
also.
And the cathedral, yeah.
Because they felt like it was going to block the kind of integrity of the cathedral on this place.
Well, it's actually a triangle.
Yeah.
And it's following construction that took place in Chicago with central cores, with water, the electricity, the sewage going right up and down the middle of the building, and that's how that building functions.
Yeah.
It's sort of a copy of, I forget what the building is, but it's on the Chicago River. The copies, and the broad side of the triangle faces the lake. So that's what was turned to.
Yeah, those sort of architectural details, I asked Richard what he said about Three Cathedral Square, but he said, oh, I'll come, and he's not here today. He was going to come today. The architectural, those kind of details were not in anything that I could find. Tucko put a staff together, and so this was now early 1977, early days, and they worked. If you think how long it takes to get things done these days, that by the July of 1977 they broke ground next door. And they had started working at this at the end of July 7th, hang on, yeah. They broke ground in June 1977, and they said it should be completed in 1 year. So the anniversary, the 40th anniversary this year coincides really with the breaking of the ground.
Okay,
that's
good to know.
Yeah. And then the other executive directors that you people may know were Sarah Carpenter and then Nancy Eldridge, and you all know Nancy Eldridge. The rest of it, I didn't go into that as to when Three Cathedral Square had to, when it spun off into a separate corporation for housing.
Yeah.
Where they are now with Three Cathedral Square Corporation, which the part that is responsible to the cathedral has to have 2 members of the cathedral or 2 members of the vestry on the Cathedral Square board. At the very beginning, the Cathedral Square board was all cathedral or vestry members, and the chairman had to be a vestry member, and the dean is always a ex officio member of the Cathedral Square. But now that has changed. We have and also the requirement was that members had to be Episcopalian. That has also changed. So we're now looking at some very high-powered business folk. Is it Charlie Smith? Charlie Smith is now chairman of the board, and there are some other board members that are not Episcopalians, and they're not members of the cathedral. But there are 2 members of the board right now, and it's Barbara Day and
Judy Walk, maybe? Is that
Judy
one?
Walk, I think Barbara has retired.
yeah,
Right.
Barbara just retired.
Judy Walk is
Oh,
Episcopalian in Montpelier.
But several members here. Alice Winner's been on the board.
Yes.
I was on the board.
Tom has been, right?
John Ellis,
Yeah.
John Ellis, Ellis Arulo, Ellis Green,
Yeah, no, she's on top of the board now as well.
yeah.
I wish I had thought to bring copies of the annual report to this meeting. I will come back and leave some. It has a lot of the, it has all the board members and an overview of where things are now.
Yeah.
So
But this is the housing development, you have, how many do you have now? 41 houses?
no, right now, managed or owned, in conjunction with private partnerships. It's very complicated financing
Yeah.
mechanisms. It is 29 communities
Oh,
right
29.
now.